Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the 12th episode of the 12 Days of Giftmas series that I have here on the channel. This is the last one. This is actually going to be a really cute one. I think everyone's going to like it. What I am going to do in this video is I'm going to show you how you can embroider and sew your very own wreath stash, okay? I have these pre-cut, and the reason why I pre-cut them is because, it just kind of saves time. And, I did 4 of them. But I wanted to give you a little bit of instructions of the cutting, okay? Now, first of all, let's talk about the fabric. This is the only fabric that I actually had in my stash. And I don't want to go out and spend extra money. This is just something that I'm going to be doing for myself. The fabric is very lightweight. If you're going to be doing this to sell or even to gift to somebody, I recommend finding fabric that is a little bit heavier, better quality, okay? This fabric quality is not really the best. So I just want to tell you guys that up front, okay? Now, the stash is something that you're going to be tying around your wreath, okay? And this is in no way finished, but just if you guys are curious of what I am trying to do here, is sometimes what people do is they have a wreath and they just go ahead and they make this little thing. So as you can see, mine is really on the short end of it. So when you are cutting, I'm a mess here. Okay, so when you are cutting, see, mine is pretty short. Okay, so this probably, no, it's going to work. It'll work. But what'll happen is, you kind of, it's to decorate the wreath. Okay, so, the idea is that you're going to have these hanging, all right? So like I said, I was kind of like out of fabric, but I will give you the measurements that you need, okay, so that you can do it right. But I want to show you guys how to actually do this, all right? So as for me, it's not a big deal because this is really for myself, and I'm okay with it being short. However, though, usually when people have these wreaths, they have them a little bit longer, okay? And a lot of times people embroider these in different ways, all right? Sometimes what they'll do is they'll have an initial at the end of the tail, like I have right here. Sometimes they will embroider the family's name going down, or, maybe they'll just embroider one side. Sometimes they'll embroider both sides. They'll do a name, then they'll do a design. So there's a lot of different ways to do this, okay? Now, the measurements. Let's talk about the measurements. This is going to be the width, okay? Which is when you go to cut these, all right? It's going to be how wide do you want this to be. Now, we are also going to be sewing. And the reason why we're sewing is you could do one of 2 ways, all right? If you want, you can just do one stash, and then this is going to show in the back. Just know that, okay? And stuff, if you just want to do one, all right? The other thing, though, is that the reason why I'm going to sew it is because I don't want this showing, all right? Now, you can actually, like, put Tender Touch on it or something like that if you want, but it's kind of going to look a little tacky, So to make it really look nice and professional, what we're going to do is we're going to sew 2 of these together after we embroider one of them, all right? So I'm going to take this out. And let's talk about the measurements, like I said. All right, I'm going to put this aside. So just wanted to give you a view of what this is. Now, this is also going to be a project you can do on whatever machine you have, a single needle and an embroidery. This is actually really a great project to do if you have an embroidery / sewing machine, because you get to use both sides of the capabilities of the machine. All right, so back to the measurements. All right, so the way that I cut this, which I think it should have been a little bit longer, all right, but like I said, I was kind of short on the fabric, all right. when I look at my cutting table, I can see that I cut this at about 5 inches, all right? It is recommended that you do at least 6 inches, 5.5 or 6, okay? The other thing is, let's talk about how long it is, all right? Mine is, this is 17. It's too short, that's for sure. 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, this is way too short. This is 26 inches long, okay? It is recommended that when you do these, it should be at least 54 inches, all right? Those are the measurements that when I did my research, that's what they recommended. However, like I said, didn't have enough fabric, so I'm going with this, okay? So, and the thing is, it's just really to show you how to do this. So when you make them, okay, the width, make sure it's 5.5 or 6 inches, okay? Not less than 5.5. If it's less than 5.5, this is going to be really small, okay? And at the same time, too, you want plenty of space for you to be able to embroider a really nice design or the font that you want, okay? So 5.5 or 6 inches width, okay? The length, make sure it's 54 or 56 inches, okay? The longer, actually, the better. But it depends on how long you want it. Okay, if you have a really big wreath, you may want it longer. If you have a medium size or small, mine is really small. This is not a big one at all. This is a very small one. Then you may want a little shorter, okay? I don't recommend using the size that I used because I used it a little bit too short. But like I said, this is just to show you how to make them, okay? So once you have them cut at the width you want and at the length you want the tails to actually look cute too, like a little ribbon, right? So there's one or two things that you can do. Some people, what they do is they will take them both, okay, just fold it and then just cut at a 45-degree angle, depending on how you want these to look, okay? But I say do straight 45, okay? That way it's easier for you when you sew it, okay? Some people like to do different decoratives at the edges. I say, no, not for what we're doing, okay? So we're just going to do it nice and simple, just that 45-degree angle going down, okay? So once you have both of them cut, okay, just like you see I have here, they're both cut, okay? Now, what you're going to do is you're going to want to embroider your design, okay? You're going to want to do it at both ends or one end, depending on what you want to do. You just want to do the initial, you do one end. If you want to do an initial or a design, do both, right? So I already did an initial on one end, but I'm actually going to do a design on the other end, okay? And I'm going to show you exactly what design I am going to use, all right? But before we head over to look at the design and everything, I want to talk to you guys about how we're going to hoop this, okay? Now, first of all, you're going to want to make sure that you iron them, okay? Make sure that they're nicely ironed and stuff. This one's a little bit on the wrinkle side, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. Let me show you how you're going to hoop it if you are at a single needle machine. I use tearaway stabilizer, okay? So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use temporary spray adhesive, okay? And what you're going to want to do is you want to spray your hoop. Now, this can dirty your hoop a lot. So if you guys live near a dollar store or Dollar Tree or something like that, look into getting these kind of hoop covers. I call them a hoop cover, but they're actually at the Odo section of the store, okay? And these are like what they put around the wheel, the steering wheel of the car. Just take this, put this over your hoop. Like this, okay? Then take it and then spray. After that, you can remove this, and then you don't have to worry about getting spray all over your hoop, okay? Just a little tip, all right? This only costs $1 You can buy a whole bunch of them. You can take this, throw it in the washing machine, or throw it out and use another one. I mean, you know, whatever you want to do. But just a cute little tip for you, okay? So once you have that there, you're going to take this, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to float it, okay? And you put it right smack in the middle. And what would really help is if you take a template of your design and you just lay it on here so you know where your middle point is, so you know where the design is going to be embroidered. Just place it on top of your fabric, and then you go ahead and you just put that here. And then usually what I'll do is I'll take Scotch tape and I just kind of tape the sides and then put them in your embroidery machine and then just embroider the design. Okay, so that's how I would do this on the single needle machine. So now I'm going to hoop this for the multi-needle machine using my mighty hoops right here. Okay, so I'm going to be using the 5x5 5x5 hoop. Okay, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to use a sheet. I thought I had one out here and I don't know where I put it, so I'm going to go grab another sheet. I know I'll eventually find it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hoop my stabilizer. Okay, once I have that hooped, then I'm going to look on here. Now you want your embroidery, if you're doing two of the embroidery, you want to make sure that you're embroidering on the same side. Okay, you don't want one on one side and then one on the back. Okay, that's not how we're going to do it. All right, you got to make sure that you embroider it on the same side. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this straight on here where I want it. Looks good. And now I'm going to take the other and I'm going to hoop it on here. There you go. Nice. Make sure it's nice and taut in there. It is. Looks good. All right. So now I hooped it for this one and I already showed you how to hoop it on the single needle machine. Now let's take a look at the design. I'm going to show you what I'm actually going to embroider on the other side of the wreath. Okay, now this is the actual design that I am going to be embroidering on the actual wreath. This comes from a really cute set that I purchased off of Etsy, and I will go ahead and link it below just in case you guys are interested. This is another one that came from that set, and I did the video of the kitchen towels, holiday kitchen towels and stuff. So if you guys are interested in purchasing this, I will make sure to link it. So yeah, so just wanted to show you guys that this is the actual design that we're going to embroider on the opposite side of that stash. Okay, so let's go over to the machine and let's embroider it. Okay, so here we are at the cutting table, and what we're going to do is we're going to remove the tearaway stabilizer. Now I'm going to be using voiceover because unfortunately my machine, my microphone died on me in the middle of the video. So I'm just going to describe the rest of the video of what I'm doing right here, okay? So as you can see, the embroidery is on one side of the stash, okay? The other side, the other stash, what we're going to do is we're going to sew it to the other one. That's going to, the sash that we didn't use is going to be the backing to the one that you embroidered. So right now I'm going to take off all of the stabilizer, which is tearaway. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put the two stashes together so that way we can get them ready for sewing. So the area where the one where it has the embroidery, you're going to face it down to the other stash and you're going to line it up. And then when you line it up, you're going to see that I'm going to start clipping the two pieces together. Okay? Because what we're going to do is after we're done sewing it, we're actually going to turn it inside out and you're not going to see the back of the embroidery anymore. Now where I have those two fingers in there, it's like 2 or 3 inches. Okay? What we're going to do is we're going to leave a little opening and that's the little area where we're going to turn it all inside out. So you see I'm putting the 2 clips on there right now. All right, and right there is that opening. That's the opening that we're going to do. Now I'm going to get some chalk. Okay, these are chalks that I like using. I like this set because it has all these different colors and it comes with a lot of chalk, as you can see. So I'll link it in the video description below so that you can get it if you're interested. And I'm going to just draw a line so that way I know where my start and my stop sewing area is. So I'm going to back stitch when I start, okay? And I'm going to sew all along the edges, okay? You see where I'm pointing my fingers? We're going to sew all the way along. And we're going to do 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then when we get to the end of that other clip, we're going to back stitch it there too, okay? So to make sure that everything stays in place, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be clipping it. So I'm using my clips to make sure that everything is nice and well aligned. If you have pins, you can use pins as well. I always stick myself with the pins. So that's why I kind of always like the clips. So I'm just going to clip the whole thing around. Just to keep both pieces together. And I go all the way. And you can only imagine, you're going to need a lot of clips and a lot of pins. Because remember, when I cut this one, I cut it kind of short. I believe I told you 26 inches, something like that. And so it really should be double the length of what I actually am doing right here. So it should be about like 50 to 54 inches, something like that, depending on the wreath. If you have a really big wreath, you may want a bigger or a longer stash. And it also depends too on what you're going to be embroidering. Like if you're going to put the family's name on it and stuff like that, you're going to want the tails to be a little longer. So it really depends on what you want to embroider on this. But I really like this method because when we turn it inside out, you're not going to see the back of the embroidery. Okay, so now it's all clipped up. Remember, you're going to back stitch, go all the way around. Okay, and then once you get to that other part where I have the chalk, you're going to back stitch it again. All right, so we're going to go over to the sewing machine and we're going to sew this up. So here I am at my Juki 2010Q. All right, if you have an SC 1900, all you have to do is just change it out from the embroidery side to the sewing side. But I haven't been using this machine lately, so I just really want to give it a nice run. So we're going to use this machine. Now, one of the things you may want to do is use the same top thread and bobbin thread. Okay, so that way it matches the wreath. So I'm going to start sewing and taking out the clips, and right where you see the the front, the first thing, we're gonna back stitch, and then I'm just gonna keep going. Okay, go slow, take your time. What's really important here is you make sure that you're sewing both of these pieces of fabric together. Okay, so I'm just gonna go all the way around, and as you can see, I'm just taking my time. And like I said, if you want to change your thread, you can. um, you know, like you could have the bobbin thread and the top thread in red, and you won't be able to see any of the seams and stuff, even though this is going to be turned inside out, so you're really not going to see it. And then when you are getting to these points, make sure that that you're catching both thread, both fabrics, the top fabric and the bottom fabric. So as you can see, I was kind of a little bit off, which is fine, and all you have to do is just keep sewing, make sure that you have both. Okay, and I'm just showing you here that I didn't really like align it well. It sometimes it happens too in the cutting. They're not perfect, but that's all right. It's gonna be perfect once the sewing is all done. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep going all the way around. Okay, you just want to make sure you get it just right. So I'm gonna put a couple more stitches there. I'm gonna turn it around. There you go. Put the foot back down. That's called pivoting. The needle's down so it doesn't, um, shift. But see how I'm showing you that the top fabric is a little shorter than the bottom fabric. So I'm just going to keep on going. And it's an easy sew because this is really just straight. It's a really easy sew. And just going to keep going. Take everything out. Pretty excited because I know this came out really, really, really cute. Wait till you guys see it. It's like really cute. So yeah, so now go all the way around. And now be careful, you don't want to sew over your embroidery, okay? You just, so just be mindful of that. And that's another thing too, when you are trying to figure out the width, take into account the seam allowance on both ends and stuff. So usually the best, people usually say about 5.5 to 6 inches wide, and then the length of each of the fabrics for the, it should be about like 50 to maybe 54 inches, 56. Like I said, depending on how long you want it. And I am almost done sewing it. Just want to make sure you grab both top and bottom. Almost done. I'm on the last side. And there we go. And let me see. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Almost done. At the finish line. So now here I'm going to backstitch. Okay, cut my thread and I'm good. All right, so now what I am actually going to do before, okay, what I'm showing you also is that's your opening, okay? Now you see there's a lot of excess fabric, okay? That can get kind of bulky if I don't cut that, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get some picky scissors, and I'm going to use that to cut that extra fabric off. Now, when you're cutting this, be careful that you're not cutting the actual stitches, okay? You want to cut close, but you don't want to cut too close that you cut the stitches, all right? Because then you kind of like just messed it all up. So I'm just going to go all the way around, and I'm just going to cut all that extra fabric that you see. And the reason why it's good to do that is so that when I turn it inside out and I go to iron it, it's not as bulky. So it it gives it, it looks a lot nicer. So I'm even going to cut it on the long ends, because I just don't want a whole bunch of bulkiness. So I am cutting all the way down. And this is it's gonna fold over nicely when I turn it inside out and I go to iron it. So there you So try to cut it all the way around. There you go. Now you see that I have that opening. When I go to iron it, it's gonna fold in. All right. So I'm not gonna worry about that. So I'm gonna put my hand in here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it inside out. You be very gentle. Also, you don't want to break the stitches or anything like that, so don't be too rough. And also, if you have a chopstick or something, that will help to make sure that the points come out okay. So as you can see right here, I am turning it inside out. There you go. And then it's going to be ready for ironing. So you just straighten it out, okay, so that when you go to iron it, it's going to look nice. And, like I mentioned before, the little pointy areas, you're probably going to need a chopstick or something like that, so that you can go and put it in there. See how I have a chopstick? And now I'm going to put it in there, and I'm just going to poke out the corners. Be gentle. Don't poke hard, because a couple of times I've done it on projects where I poked hard. Next thing you know, the chopstick went right through it. Broke all my stitches and everything. So what you're going to do is you just want to poke all the areas out, so that way you can get it ready for ironing. I have to do the other side as well. Just be gentle, take your time, don't rush, enjoy the process. There you go. And then what you want to do is you want to try to fold it, just smooth it out so that when you go to the iron, you can just iron it. And when you iron it, see how this folds in, this little area right there? See, you're going to iron that flat, and it's going to look nice. Okay, and then we'll stitch that closed. We're going to stitch that closed right there. Okay, so that's where it would really make a difference about the color of the thread right there. If you can have red top thread and red bobbin thread, that would look nice better, because you're going to top stitch that closed right there where you see I have my fingers in. Okay, so I'm going to take this to the iron. I'm going to iron it, okay, and get it ready so that I can top stitch that opening. So here I am with it back, and as you can see, looks nicely ironed, looks really nice. I'm so far love the outcome, and see how cute it looks. And I'm going to look for the opening, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to top stitch it closed. Now, before I top stitched it, I did actually change my top thread to the red to match the material. I did not change the bobbin thread, so the bobbin's going to look, the bottom of that is going to look white and the top's going to be red, but I'm okay with that. I mean, it's for me anyway. So, yeah, so when you're doing this, another thing I want to mention is the opening. You always want to do it in the middle of your stash. You don't want to do it on the end. Sometimes people think it's going to be easier on the end. It's going to be a lot easier for you to turn it over if you actually have the opening in the middle. All right, so it's right here. I'm showing you that, you know, I do have my red top thread, and I'm going to look for that place where I had the opening, and I'm just going to top stitch it. I'm going to go back and forward, and then top stitch that little area shut. Okay, and try to do it as close to the edge as possible. That way it's not that noticeable. And another cute idea is, if let's say you use white thread and stuff, you may want to top stitch the whole thing, and you can use the white thread all the way around and give it a nice little outline in the ends. Just a thought, you know, if you want to do something like that. So here it is. It is nicely top stitched. It is done. You can see the bobbin thread behind. You can tell that it's white. And just make sure you cut all your loose threads, any loose threads that you have. Okay. See, I have the bobbin white thread, but if you look on the other side, you don't see the white. You know, it's red, so it looks really good. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna try this on the wreath, and let's tie it on the wreath and see how it looks. So here I am at the wreath, and I am trying this on, and we're gonna tie a knot. It looks really cute. I'm pretty happy with the turnout. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to tie it. I'm just going to tie it to the bottom. Okay. Now, I do wish that it was longer. You know, I wish I had more fabric, that I would have been able to make it longer, but I didn't. So, but that's okay. You know, I had enough fabric to show you how to make one of these. Okay. So we're just going to make a little tie, and then we're just going to fix the you know, the way it lays out, you know, the way it falls out. You just make the adjustments, and then you hang it on your door, and it looks really super cute. Look at that. Look at that. Love the outcome. Guys, I love this. Look at that. It looks cute. Just gotta fix it. Just maneuver around it and stuff so that you can get it right and stuff the way you want it. And as you can see with the 2 embroidery, look at those tails. Looks so super cute. So super cute. This is a cute idea to really decorate your door, or, you know, to even like give it to a friend or something like that, so that way they can, you know, tie it around. So look at that. That's the final outcome. So guys, I really hope you like this video, and if you do, please give me a thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I'm all about, you know, embroidering and sewing and stuff like that. So happy holidays and enjoy. And I love this. I love this. I think I'm going to be making more of these. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye. One last look. Happy holidays, everyone. Okay, this will work.